All right, so we are back. We're going to have our having fun segments here, which are just a bunch of different questions that are pretty short. And we use these as TikToks before the episode to get people excited about the full show. And hope you'll enjoy these, Matt. The first one's called Did You Know? Can you tell us something your fans may not know about you?
Okay. Wow. Okay. To something that they may not know about me that I want them to know. Uh, they may not know, uh, but probably wouldn't be surprised that I probably was thrown out of every single classroom I was ever in
Ever.
whenever I went to school. Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a tough one to keep up with.
They may not know that I had the most amount of detention uh, uh, out of all the kids in
Wow.
junior high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that rockabilly thing, right? Just got to keep up that rep.
I think it's just ADHD, man.
Yeah,
I
could
just
be.
think I just think I couldn't sit still. I never been able to like, even any place like that, classrooms or church or anything like that. I
Can't
can't
keep you
sit
cooped
still.
up.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
not like I want to do anything wrong. It's just I can't. I
yeah.
just can't. There's something inside of me that wants to yell fire in a crowded movie
Oh,
house. I
don't.
don't know. No, I would never do that. I know better than that, but just it's just sitting still was always a hard
Yeah,
time for
I
me.
understand. All right, next one's called Mount Rushmore. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of songwriting?
Okay, wow. Golly, that's a tough one. Well, Chris Christopherson, John Prine, um, uh, probably Merle Haggard.
Oof.
Um, and I'm gonna go off the beaten path because I love his stuff, even though he's so out in left field. Harry Nilsson.
Nice. Heck
Yeah,
yeah. That's a
yeah,
great answer. I like
yeah.
that. All right, next one's called What the Heck? This is just five rapid fire questions. Just tell me the first thing that pops into your brain. Let's see here. Number one, if you were a crayon, what color would you be and why?
Red because blood's forever. No, I'm just I'm just kidding.
Number two, what is your best curse word alternative?
Current word alternative. Like, what is a word alternative?
A curse word alternative.
Oh, I'm this has always been a classic because I used to hear my dad say it a bunch, and I say Godfrey Daniel, because of WC Fields. We were big WC Fields
There you go.
people.
All right,
Oh, Godfrey Daniel,
number three. Who is your hero?
my hero. Wow, jeez, that's a big one. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say my mom. You know, because she's always we've been right along buddies since I was a kid. She's such a strong and brilliant woman, and always been so empathetic to me and to my brother and to my dad and my whole family really, and just kind of also just been very encouraging of any interest that we had. There was never a time that she would have told any one of us. It's like, I don't know if you should doing that. You should be thinking about something else. It's always just being a big cheerleader.
I
So
love
I'm
that.
and she's a great writer, and I'm proud of her.
Nice. Number four. Why do you think McDonald's doesn't serve hot dogs?
Because I mean, why go any grosser than they already are? You
All right,
know what I
last
mean?
one. Which superpower do you wish you had?
I wish I wish I could travel through time.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, next segment is called One Artist. Who is one artist that you wish the entire world knew about?
Okay. Wow. And I know that I've been asked stuff like this before, and I can't when I get put on the spot, I can't remember. Um, I'll just say one of my favorite bands out there that I wish were a bigger band, because I do love when a band is a cohesive unit. It's because you don't see it that much. These guys, the Broken Spokes out of Houston,
Yeah.
are a really good country dance band, and I relate to that a whole lot. So it's not like they're quote unquote an artist, but I do really. You can see how important it is for them to be a good band and to
Yeah.
give people a good night of music that you can dance to, which there aren't that many bands that do that much anymore. And I appreciate it. We were
I
kind of
love
one of
that.
those bands. Yeah.
All right, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned directly from music?
Okay. Well, I was given advice because I used to get really down and out if they when I was really young. If there was a small crowd and some people would leave, I'd get really down. Just like, and I asked my friend Ronnie Dawson because he would just give a stellar performance no matter how many people were in the room, and he said something that sounds so obvious, but it's it's way easier said than done. But he made it look easy. You can't play for the people who aren't there. You have to play for the people who are. That's it. It's just as simple as that. And I was like, well, that makes sense, and that can really apply to any number of things. I
Oh,
think.
I'll give you a good example. So I
Uh-huh.
used to be a video game streamer, still dabble in it from time to time, but I did it full time for from 2018 to 2022 ish, 23.
Hmm.
And when you first start doing that, obviously, when you hit the live button, you're literally streaming to nobody. There's literally nobody there. It's just a big goose egg, right? No, zero. And I had a friend of mine that was streaming to hundreds and hundreds of people at a time, and I used to ask him all the time, I don't understand, how you're able to get from where I'm at, where I have zero, to where you're at, where you have hundreds. And he's like, you just have to focus on the people who are there and not the ones who aren't. And once you start realizing that, then you will have more people showing up. And so
And
that's,
it lives. Yeah, and it lives in perpetuity.
yep.
But I'll give you one more twist on that specific thing and how it relates in other ways. There's this movie called it's got Sandra Bullock, and she goes to rehab, and God, I can't remember the name. 28 Days, I think, something
I
like
think I
that.
think that might be right. Yeah.
So, but there's Vigo Mortensen plays this guy. He's a baseball player, and he comes to rehab, and they're talking. It's like, how are you able to hit? He's practicing throwing pitches, and it's like he's hitting the strike zone every single time. It's like, how are you able to hit such a small spot? And he says something, and of course, this is just movie stuff, but like he says something that made a lot of sense to me. It's like, well, there's all this stuff outside of the strike zone that you can't control. But inside that little spot right
Uh,
there, just to get to that spot, there's any number of things that you're within your control to hit that spot every single time. And it
hmm.
could be as simple as showing up on time, making sure your stuff works, making sure the car is running. There's a number of things that are within your control. It's a lot less than you probably think about, because if you worry about the big picture and every single thing going on, then you're not going to hit your mark. But if
Yep.
you worry about the things you can control, and this is a constant struggle for me in life because I just am just all over the place all the time. But if you worry about focusing on the things that you actually can control, 90% of the other stuff is going to fall into place
Yeah.
because you've done what you were supposed to do to get there.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Next one's called Moment of Gravity. I always struggle to ask this one, but we usually get there in the end. So basically, there's probably one moment in your life that you can look back at and kind of draw a line from today to then as to when like your musical journey really started becoming serious. Something, either a person or an event or a thing or something happened to kind of change your trajectory and put you on the path that you're on now.
Okay, I can tell you what it is. I mean, it could have been a lot of things, but when I first started to get to know Jim Heath, um, he was the Reverend Horton Heat was just kind of a local Dallas band, and they would travel around. Don't get me wrong, but they hadn't gone on the road like and lived on the road like the way that they do now. But there used to be this thing called Dallas Alley All Stars. They did every Tuesday night, and all the musicians would go there and play a couple of songs, and that the agency or the Dallas Alley would pay them little bit of money to play a couple of songs. And I had been staying at Jim's apartment. I was like 12 years old. My mother said it was okay. That's my mom's cool, you know. But so I had been staying with Jim at his apartment and running errands and all this stuff for like 2 or 3, and going to his shows for like 2 or 3 days. And at the end of those 2 or 3 days was this Dallas Alley show. And so he takes me to the show, and he knows that I've practiced a handful of his songs. And he asked me like, "Hey, you want to get up and sing a couple of tunes?" And I was nervous as all get out because I
Wow.
mean, most people I'd ever played in front of before, and he's like, I really look up to him, figuratively and at the time literally. Um, so I was so nervous, and I got up there and I played with him, and I know that I wasn't very good. I don't know, I was 12 or 13, something like that. How good could I be? Um, but uh, I got a taste for. I had already been on stage doing stuff before, but that was the most people I'd ever played for, and I got a taste for it. And then after I got done, even as bad as I probably was, the lady who was the agent for the whole show, she thought that it was cute. She thought I was that it was a cute little gimmick, novelty, whatever you want to call it. But she thought it was cute enough. She's like, come back next week, we'll pay you, and you can do a couple songs on your.
Wow.
If you have a band you can put together, you can come out and do it again. And that was the first money I ever made playing music. And then after that, I was hooked. I was like, man, this is actually something I could
They
do.
actually pay you to do this? What?
Yeah, yeah. No, it was a trip, and I've been fighting to do that, keep doing that ever since.
That's amazing,
So
man. I got two more. Next one's called Grateful. What are three things that you are grateful for?
my family, for sure, and and that speaks to not only just my entire family, but especially my wife, because she's she's the rudder on the ship in so many ways. That would be number one. So far, my health. I'm still, although I'm getting to that age where I'm trying to actually listen to what doctors say and be better about taking care of
Make sure
myself.
you
Which,
listen to your doctors more than you do Dale Watson.
oh gosh, I listen to Dale because it amuses me. Because he's so easy to set off. Like he thinks he's messing with me, but I don't know if he really appreciates exactly how much it's an act, and I'm really messing with him sometimes. But anyway, okay. Another thing I'm grateful for is that I have a roof over my head, and that we've been able, because it's not always easy, especially if you're a musician. And my mom, Freudian slip. This has happened to me like twice in the last 2 weeks. So I don't know what it says. I want to say something about my wife, and I say my mom. Oh gosh. Anyways, my wife used to work in the mortgage biz, and it was commission based, and she would do really well. But then, there just would be times where it's like my salary is not fixed,
Yep.
hers isn't fixed, and then you got all this money that's coming to
Terrifying.
you. You got it. You're waiting for it to come to you. It's on its way, but you can't pay the bills with good intentions.
Right.
And that's always been just a struggle for most musicians or people in general, probably. But we've been able to keep the lights on, and we live in a good neighborhood, and stuff breaks, but you usually able to fix it. So
Good stuff. Yeah.
the simple things.
All right. Last question of the night. Who is Matt Hillyer?
Okay, well, I was born in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Hate to bust that bubble for you guys. I think
We're just finding this out?
No, I haven't kept it a secret. My dad was a minister, and that was the first place that the church sent him. But my family's been in Texas since it was, its own country. It just, they decided to move to Ohio when I was born, so I could hear about it from all my Texan friends for the rest of my life. And I grew up in a good home with really funny, brilliant, smart people. My brother's a brilliant guy. My mom is brilliant. My dad was a really, really brilliant, funny guy. We laughed a lot. We loved movies. We loved good music. We love art and culture, and discovered music and been trying to, I don't know, express and tell the truth ever since.
I love it. I love it. We've got Matt Hillyer here. Matt, you talked about, or you alluded to, possibly new music coming. Is that going to be this year, or what are you thinking?
Well, okay, so I'll give you a sort of a rough outline. I hope it's going to be soon, but it's not. It probably what I want to do is to put together a situation where we we record live in the studio, video and audio, of a full band doing mostly new musics enough of it that we can cut it up and hopefully release one track a week. That's the goal,
Wow.
you know, because I like the idea. There's so many of my friends who are playing with podcasts and things like that, and I've always wanted to do one, but I don't necessarily want to do a static podcast where I enter, because I have a lot of fun doing this, and I have a lot of fun doing people's podcasts, and we can incorporate that. But I really would like to play with the idea of doing live in the studio with where you make a scene. You know, it's an idea that you bring a lot of cool cats together one day a month, and you record 3 or 4 songs, hopefully, and then you cut them up. You continue to release them, but it's known that by all these musicians that we'll have some food brought in, we'll have some drinks, we'll create a scene where it's fun for us to get together and jam, and it's new music, and you can release it. It doesn't have to be mine. It could be somebody else's. We can bring people in.
That sounds badass, man.
It sounds like a lot of fun, but I know
Yeah.
it's going to be a whole lot of work. But me and John Pedigo are toying with the ideas in the space. He's got a new space that we can probably work out of, and that's kind of what I want to do. It's just something that's more immediate and continues over and over again. You don't have to get it perfect,
Yeah.
but you do want to create something that looks and feels like, wow, man, I'd like to be in that
It could be
room.
cutting edge, man. You might be starting something, you know?
I think people have probably done stuff like that before, but that's what I want to do. And then there is some talk with State Fair Records about doing another full length record, which I would love to do that too. But immediately, I'd want to do something that's that's like one of those, you know, what is it like? You give a man a fish, or you teach him to fish.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, something that keeps on giving. You know, because there's just a lot of songs that I have in the song bag, and I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And so that is my next focus. Whether I can make it happen or not, we will see. But you heard it here.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. Yeah, you guys heard it here. Let me tell you guys where you can follow along with Matt. The website is matthillyer.com, HILLYER.com. There is no uniformity with his social media, just so you know. I feel like the older we are, the less we are good at that, right? Because my uniformity is bad, too. So I'm going to tell everybody where you can follow. On Facebook, it's Matt Hillyer Music. On Instagram, it's MattCat1100. On X, it is Matt Hillyer 1. And on TikTok, it is official Matt Hillyer. And I think YouTube is also official Matt Hillyer. So you guys make sure you're following and subscribing to all of those places. Get yourself a copy of the record Bright Skyline. One of the best records I've ever heard in my life. I will say that till my dying day. I love the record. And I'm so stoked to finally have gotten to talk to you, Matt. I appreciate your help.
Likewise, man. This has been so much fun, and thank you for all your kind words. It means the world to me. And just Max and Heather had done your podcast, and they just said it was so much fun, and it really, really is. So I appreciate it. Well, you know, if you'll have me back, you just ask me, and I'll come.
Man, yeah, I would love to have you back, man. Like I said, I've been a fan of yours for like 12 years. I started podcasting in 2016, so this has been a long time. I've been wanting to chat with you, and it's kind of cool, like getting to chat with some of my, you know, the people that I really looked up to for a long time, like yourself and like Max and Courtney Patton and you know, Jesse Robb Jr. was just on. Like a lot of these guys and girls that I've been listening to since, you know, for ages. So
yeah,
it's really a privilege that you came on, and I appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much.